And batting 10, number 44, pitcher Brent Bacon. Number 44.
Hello, folks, and thanks for joining us as we're live here at Hanson Aggregates Field, making the trip down to Adirondack as the Pilots are in town to take on the Trailblazers as we're just about ready for first pitch here. Not our best camera angle, but we'll work with what we got as Dawson Bailey is at the plate to start us off here tonight. Dawson Bailey taking a big cut at the first one. Looks at one on the inside corner, and he's quickly behind 0-2 now. Bailey ready for the 0-2. He's able to hold off one outside. And so the count goes to 1-2 on him now. Bailey takes a big cut at that one, and a strikeout gets us going here to start us off in this one. On the mound tonight for Adirondack is Mike Sansone, the left-handed pitcher from Cheshire, Connecticut, getting ready to start his freshman year at Fairfield. As we'll see plenty of new faces. Get a look at Ryan Wynn coming up here. One of those new faces at the plate right now, Matt Cerfolio from Indian Springs, Alabama, plays at Columbia. That one's outside as Cerfolio is able to hold off, and so the count goes to 1-1 on him now. Cerfolio playing third base tonight for the Pilots. As Cerfolio looks at one inside, and so the count goes to 2-1, on him now. As it's been a little bit hectic here at the ballpark tonight, trying to get things set up, but hopefully we can figure things out as Cerfolio chops one into right field, and it's going to fall for a base hit. And so in his first at-bat with the Pilots, Cerfolio gets himself a one-out single. And so there's a man over on first now with one gone here in the top of the first. And another new face for the Pilots here tonight. As it's DeSantolo coming to the plate now for the Pilots. Jared DeSantolo from Tampa, Florida, plays at Florida Atlantic. And he steps in wearing number 31 for the Pilots. And his first at-bat with Newark for the summer is a lot of players coming from around the country from their collegiate baseball teams finally making their way here to Newark. Swinging at that one on the first pitch, and it's fair. That one's going to fall fair all the way down in the corner. Coming around, Colbert's going to wave him home. And that one's lost. And we'll see what they call it here, as that one seemed to get stuck in the fence all the way out in right field, but interested to see what they allow here. And I believe a man is going to come home to score. And so Cerfolio touches home plate. And the Pilots are quickly on the board in this one. And DeSantolo was going to pick himself up an RBI. As he liked the first pitch he saw on that one and took a crack at that one, got in front of it and drove it into right field. And so a good start for the new kids on the block as Cerfolio and DeSantolo both picked themselves up some hits, and Cerfolio comes around to score. And we continue the theme with new players for the Pilots here tonight, as it's Ty Babin, the catcher for tonight, as he comes to the plate for the Pilots now, as DeSantolo worked himself into scoring position as he was able to reach second after the mishap over there in right field. Babin holds off on that one in the dirt, and so the count will go to 1-1. A gloomy night here in Boonville, New York, as the weather looked nice back in Newark as we took off to come up here to the Adirondacks, but a little chillier and some light rain before first pitch here tonight, as that one misses inside from Mike Sansone. Pilots haven't seen many left-handed pitchers this year, but Sansone stands there on the left side as Babin is ready. It's a 2-1 delivery, and it finds the inside part of the plate, and so the count goes to 2-2 on Babin now. So a correction on that play. Serfolio was asked to return to third, so that one's in the dirt. As Babin held off on it, and the count runs full on him now. And so there's still no score here, but Serfolio is over on third, and DeSantolo is on second. After the play in right field, here's the full count. Babin looks at one inside, and the bases are loaded with one gone here in the top of the first, as the Pilots are threatening. It's Alan Murphy who comes to the plate now, as Alan Murphy batting .280 here for the Pilots. He takes a crack at the first pitch there and fouls it off out of play, and so he's behind in the count 0-1. 25 at-bats for Murphy so far, as he's been able to bat in 4 runs on 7 hits. As he's out there in right field tonight. Murphy actually in the DH spot tonight, as we've seen Murphy in right field a couple of times this year. We've also seen him on the mound as well, but he's thrown in the DH spot tonight, as he's behind in the count 0-2, as Sansone is trying to get him out of the jam as the bases are loaded here. Murphy cracks one into center, fading back after it is the center fielder. Tagging is Serfolio and DeSantolo. And it's the RBI sac fly for Alan Murphy, as Serfolio comes around to touch home plate. So Alan Murphy does his job and brings in the first run of this game, and the Pilots are up 1-0. The shortstop, Ben Cowles, comes to the plate now. Cowles takes a crack at that one and fouls it off, as Cowles, after tomorrow's game back in Newark against Glen Falls, he'll head off to Maryland as he gets set to begin his collegiate career, as he assumes the shortstop position tonight for the Pilots. Cowles takes another swing at that one and fouls it off again. And so he's behind in the count 0-2, as there's runner at the corners now after the sac fly from Alan Murphy. Cowles looks at one in the dirt. Babin's going to take off. And there was never a throw, and so Babin's into scoring position now, as Cowles was able to hold off on that one in the dirt, and so the count goes to 1-2 on him now. Is Sansone trying to limit the damage here in the top of the first? Gowles takes a cut at that one, so Sansone gets the strikeout. But the Pilots get one on the board here in the top of the first, and they lead 1-0. Welcome back here to Hanson Aggregates Field. I'm Dan Cooter, and the broadcast team able to make the trip here as we begin the bottom half of the first. Pilots up 1-0 as it's the right-hander Trent Baker on the mound tonight for the Pilots, and it's Lucas Stallman leading us off for the Trailblazers here tonight. Stallman looks at two quick fastballs, as you'll see a lot of those from Trent Baker, as he can throw some heat, as that's his go-to pitch. And he has Stallman in an 0-2 hole. Stallman takes a swing and a miss, and Baker only takes him 3 pitchers, and he strikes out the leadoff man to start us off here in the bottom half of the first. And so Trent Baker makes that one look easy. And so Brad Roberto comes to the plate now for the Trailblazers. Roberto batting .326 with 43 at-bats. He leads the Trailblazers in both runs and hits, as Baker is ahead in the count to Roberto, as he has him in an 0-2 hole here. Roberto also 14 hits on the year as he fouls this one off and stays alive. First contact we've seen from the Trailblazers tonight. He's got 5 RBIs on the year as well, so strong start of the year for Roberto, as he's ready to go. Another 0-2 offering. That one just misses on the outside part of the plate, and so it's 1 ball and 2 strikes to Roberto now. Baker into the windup again. That one misses outside as well, and so the count moves even at 2-2. Bradley Roberto from San Diego, California, plays at Franklin Pierce. That one fouled off. That one's coming right at me. It missed me, though. Another 2-2 here to Roberto. That one fouled off again. They're flying left and right of me here. Not much protection up here behind home plate, as Roberto is able to keep the count at 2-2. Baker, that one swung into the gap in right. It could be extra bases for Roberto. Back at the wall is Dawson Bailey. He's able to corral it, but Roberto's in there. And a one-out stand-up double for Bradley Roberto. A great at-bat for him as Baker had him behind in the count 0-2, but Roberto fought off a couple of pitches and then swung one into the gap in right. And he's able to get an extra base hit out of it. And so it's Julio Mercado who comes to the plate now. Mercado from Katy, Texas. Ready to go as he's got a man over there at second. Marcano will also see his brother batting in the DH spot tonight. In the 5 spot, Marcano, Julio playing first tonight. Baker ready to go. He misses with that one. And so the count goes to 1-1 now. With Roberto over there on second. Baker takes a peek and now delivers. That one misses outside, and so the count goes to 2-1 now. Julio Marcano, 36 at-bats for him this year. 12 hits and 7 runs. Has batted in 6 runs this year. As Baker is ready with a 2-1 offering. That one catches the lower half of the plate, and the count runs even. As there's one gone here in the bottom half of the first. Pilots up 1-0. Two delivery from Baker. Gets him as Baker able to paint the corner, and so there's 2 gone and 2 strikeouts here in the bottom half of the first for Baker.
Now batting, number 39, the right fielder, Vinny Martin, number 39.
The right fielder, Vinny Martin, comes to the plate now. Martin making his first appearance of the year for the Trailblazers, as Baker was able to keep Roberto at bay over there on second. Hard crack there and lined foul. And so Martin quickly has a strike on him now, as it's 0-1 to him. Baker able to paint the outside corner, and he's quickly got Martin behind in the count 0-2. Baker had Roberto behind in the count, but Roberto was able to get a double. We'll see if Vinny Martin can make something happen. That one misses high and outside, so it's ball 1 to Martin, and the count goes to 1-2 now. Trent Baker, as mentioned, we've seen him on the mound, the hard pitching righty from Georgetown, Texas. Ready with a 1-2. Misses outside again as we see Ty Babin there behind the plate for the Pilots tonight. Babin making his first appearance of the year for Newark, as we've seen Alex Hernandez do most of the catching to this point for the Pilots. This one chopped down the third baseline, but it'll be foul as Serfolio was making his way over there. Serfolio over there at third base. We see Xavier Warren playing second tonight. And Ben Cowles is at shortstop. And DeSantolo, who we saw get the double back in the first inning, is over there at first tonight. A 2-2 count to Martin. In the dirt, the throw down. There's no one there, though, as Serfolio was not at third. Smart play by Roberto, and he's able to steal the base into third base. He goes as a miscommunication there from Babin and Serfolio. And as we mentioned, it's their first game together. So full count now. Martin chops this one down the third baseline, but foul. And so the count remains full as there's 2 gone here in the bottom half of the first. Pilots able to get one in the top half, and so they lead 1-0. Roberto over there at third for the Trailblazers. Baker misses outside with the full count, and so he walks Martin. And it's the other Mercano, David Mercano now.
The DH, David Mercano,
As we
number 15.
Mercano, as we mentioned, batting in the DH spot tonight. His brother Julio struck out earlier in the inning. Baker tosses one in there for ball 1 as that one missed low. As the Trailblazers have runners at the corners here with 2 gone. Big cut from Mercano as he misses on that one. And the count goes to 1-1 now. Baker will step off here and regroup as it's a 1-1 count to David Mercano. Baker tries to get out of the inning unscathed here. As there's 2 gone. He misses with that one outside, and so the count goes to 2-1. As Vinny Martin is down there on first. After being walked, Roberto, who had the 1-out double, is now at third. Mercano chops one to right. Back in underneath it, and that'll do it for the inning. So Baker gets out of the jam, and the Pilots take a 1-0 lead as we head to the top of the second. Here from Hanson Aggregates Field. Xavier Warren gets us going here in the top of the second as the Pilots have a 1-0 lead. Warren takes a swing at the first pitch and fouls it back, and so it's strike 1 to him. Warren hitting .214 so far this year for the Pilots in 28 at-bats, has 6 hits, and has batted in 5 runs. Warren, who can hit from both sides of the plate. We see him on the right side here. Usually see him hitting on the left, but with the left-hander on the mound tonight for the Trailblazers. He goes from the right side of the plate. He's behind on the count 0-2, but that one misses outside, and so the count goes to 1-2 now on Warren. As it's Mike Sansone back on the mound for Adirondack here. Sansone ready to go as Warren fouls another one off out of play. And Warren is able to stay alive again. Warren plays at Central Michigan from Southfield, Michigan. Has been able to come across and score 4 times for the Pilots this year. As the Pilots look to pick up their second victory of the year and try to put a little win streak together here as Warren chops one up to the second baseman. The play over to first, and there's one gone here as Warren is retired to lead us off in the top half of the second.
Now batting, number 21, the right fielder, Griffin Robinson.
And another new face comes to the mound, comes to the plate for the Pilots. It's Griffin Robinson. Griffin Robinson from Shawnee, Kansas, plays at St. Louis. Playing in right field tonight for the Pilots. He looks at one inside from Sansone, and so it's ball 1 to him. Robinson takes a crack at that one and fouls it off, and so he's behind in the count. As there's one gone here in the top of the second. Pilots up 1-0 as Serfolio came across home plate to score. Robinson able to hold off one there on the inside part of the plate, and so the count goes to 2-1 on him now. Sansone ready with the 2-1 delivery. Robinson lays off of it, and it's in the dirt, and so the count goes to 3-1 now. Griffin Robinson has himself a hitter's count here. There's one gone after Xavier Warren grounded out to lead us off here in the top of the second. Robinson gets a huge piece of that one into left, but it looks like it's going to fall on the warning track, and so there's 2 gone. We should mention here at Hanson Aggregates Field, it's only 320 to left field, 310 to right, and 365 to dead center. And we saw in batting practice, there was plenty of balls making it over the fence here, so I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a home run or two from either side tonight. Pilots have not been able to hit the long ball here as Priesta comes to the plate, and he chops one up into center, and it's going to fall. No, it won't. What a play from the right fielder. And so they go down 1-2-3 here in the top half of the second. Trailblazers come back to the plate when we come back from Hanson Aggregates Field. Starting off the top, or the bottom half of the second, as Trailblazers come back up to the plate as they're down in this one, 1-0. This is Trent Baker back on the mound now. And it's Tim Carroll, the second baseman, who leads things off for Adirondack here. He chops one down to the third baseman. Serfolio makes the play, and he gets him as Carroll was showing some speed over there, getting down to first, but DeSantolo was able to stretch it out, and Serfolio makes the play, and so there's quickly one gone here in the bottom half of the second as the Pilots finish up their 4-game road swing before they head back to Colburn Park tomorrow to take on the Glens Falls Dragons. Pilot, the catcher, as the count is 1-1 on him. Lights are on here at Hanson Aggregates Field as it's a overcast night. As Caruso holds off on one on the inside part of the plate, but it falls in there for strike 2, and so he's behind in the count 1-2 as Baker tries to make quick work of the 6, 7, 8 hitters for the Trailblazers. Caruso fouls this one off, and it'll escape out of play. And so he stays alive as the count remains at 1-2 to him. Baker with the pitch there, and that one missed outside. And so the count goes to 2-2 now on Caruso. As we've seen Baker try to work that outside part of the plate, and he's just been a little bit off with a couple of the pitches, and that one missed again. And so the count runs full now for the right-hander who plays at Angelo State, trying to retire the side here in the bottom half of the second. Misses outside again, and so it's a 2-out walk. Baker's second of the game.
Now batting, number 37, the center fielder, Trent McCaffrey.
Trent McCaffrey comes to the plate now as he's batting to the bottom of the order for the Trailblazers. Playing center field tonight for Adirondack. As he's got Caruso over at first after the 2-out walk. And one thing we've seen here in the early going is Baker's been getting the calls on the inside part of the plate, but he hasn't been getting them on the outside part. And so we'll see what he tries to do, depending on what his strategy is there on the mound. Big cut from Caruso. Throw down to second. Cowles with the tag, but he's in there safe as Cowles was late to react to that one. As Ty Babin tried to fire one in there and pick off Caruso, but Caruso has himself a stolen base. And he's in a scoring position now for the Trailblazers. 1-1 count to McCaffrey. Big cut, and he fouls that one off towards the batting cages, and so the count goes to 1-2 on him now. One and two count to McCaffrey. That one chopped up to Warren at second. Easy play for him over to DeSantolo, and that'll do it for the bottom half of the second. Pilots still lead 1-0. Trent Baker strong on the mound for Newark in the early going. a quick second inning. Brings us to the top half of the third as Dawson Bailey comes back to the plate for the second time. Pilots lead 1-0 on this one. Dawson Bailey struck out his first time up as he looks at ball one outside. Bailey from Porter, New York, had a strong year for the Pilots so far as he fouls this one back into the stands. As that one falls foul, and so it's strike one to him, and it's a 1-1 count. Bailey hitting .406 on 32 at-bats, has 13 hits, and has driven in 4 runs to this point so far. His strikeout to lead us off in the game was his 8th of the year as Bailey fires another one off into the stands, and they tuck again as he's behind in the count 1-2 after back-to-back foul balls from him. And there's a third straight foul ball. That one goes right at the press box that time. As I'm doing things from outside here tonight at Hanson Aggregates Field, making it work. I was happy to be back and calling here for Newark. As Bailey looks at one high, and so the count goes to 2-2 on him now. Mike Sansone, the lefty from Cheshire, New York, still working on the mound for the Trailblazers here in the third. That one inside part of the plate, and we've seen the inside working for both pitchers as Bailey strikes out, and he can't believe it. And I'm not sure if it's a thing of the batters. There might be a little warning coming here as Bailey did not like that call at all. But nevertheless, he strikes out for the second time of the game. It's Sansone's third K of the game. And Cerfolio comes back to the plate now as he looks at ball one. Cerfolio, as we've mentioned, making his first appearance of the year for the Pilots, along with 4 others here for Newark tonight. And with a 1-8 start, I think all options are on the table for Matt Colbert. She tries to find the correct lineup as he tries to get the Pilots in the win column here tonight. We saw last Friday the Pilots picked up their first and only win of the year so far against Geneva. Cerfolio chops one down the third baseline, but it falls foul. And so it's 2 balls and 1 strike to him now. Cerfolio 1 for 1 on the evening as he came around to score in his first plate appearance. Cerfolio, as we mentioned, from Indian Springs, Alabama, plays at Columbia. And he's ready to go as Sansone will deliver the 2-1 to him. Another one down the third baseline and foul, and so the count moves even at 2-2. In case you're just joining us, the Pilots jumped out to a 1-0 lead in the top half of the first, and that's where we are, as Newark has 2 hits in this one, Adirondack with 1 to this point. Cerfolio takes a reach at that one, and that's the 4th K of the evening for Sansone now.
Now batting, number 31, the first baseman, Jared DeSantolo, number 31.
So there's 2 gone here in the top half of the third now. And it's DeSantolo, the first baseman, who comes back to the plate. Batting on the left side of the plate. He's 1 for 1 as he had that double back in the first. DeSantolo plays at Florida Atlantic. Off speeder just misses inside. So the count goes to 1-1 on DeSantolo now. That one chopped down. Oh, and it escapes two infielders for the Trailblazers. DeSantolo was aboard with 2 outs. As Stallman and Polichetti couldn't get the glove on it, as the third baseman and the shortstop both came together and got over both of their heads. And so DeSantolo gets himself on base. I'm not sure if that'll be charged as an error or not, and I believe it won't. And so it's the catcher, Ty Babin, who comes back to the plate. He was walked his first time up. DeSantolo was aboard with 2 outs. Sansone keeping an eye on him, and he delivers one outside, and so it's ball 1 to him. So DeSantolo is awarded a hit, and so he has 2 in this game, and it's the third of the game for the Pilots. Babin sends one to left, and that one's going to fall. So Ty Babin has his first hit as a Pilot, and there's 2 on now. As we're here in the top of the third, and Alan Murphy comes to the plate now. He had an RBI sac fly, as Caruso comes out for a mound visit with his pitcher. As there's men on first and second with 2 gone now. As Alan Murphy trying to get himself another RBI. Murphy, with the sac fly, has 5 RBIs on the year now for the Pilots. Murphy holds off on one inside, and so it's ball 1 to him. As the Pilots look to extend their lead here in the top half of the third. They lead 1-0 over Adirondack in this one. Murphy sends one into center field, and it'll drop. Chugging into third and coming around to score is DeSantolo, and the Pilots take a 2-0 lead. I was a little taken aback by that one, as McCaffrey looked like he wanted to make a play on it, but the shortstop Stallman might have called him off, but then Stallman backed out of the way, and it just dropped right in between them. And with the throw, Murphy was able to come all the way around to second, and now an infield conference here as the Pilots have extended their lead, and they lead 2-0 in this one now, as they have 5 hits on the game now, as Alan Murphy, a little blooper into center field, was able to drop, and DeSantolo came around to score. So it's Ben Cowles who now comes up to the plate, as he's 0 for 1, struck out his first time up. That one misses inside, and so it's ball 1 to Ben Cowles, as there's men on second and third for the Pilots, as they're looking for more here, as there's 2 gone in the top of the third. The throw down, oh, that might have got Babin, but now it sneaks away. Babin's going to come for home. The throw, it's in, and he is out of there. Good throw from the third baseman to get Ty Babin out at home plate. But the Pilots get one more, and they lead 2-0 in this one here at Hanson Aggregates Field. Trailblazers head to the top of the order as we kick things off here in the bottom half of the third. Pilots get another run in the top half, and so they lead in this one 2-0. Stallman checks his swing but fouls it off, and so he's behind in the count 0-1. Stallman in 2 games played has 7 at-bats and 3 hits and has homered once. And as we mentioned, the Trailblazers here at Hanson Aggregates Field, it's a hitter's park as they have 9 home runs on the year compared to the Pilots who have yet to strike gold and send in 1 yard. Stallman fouls one off to stay alive in the count as he's behind 0-2. Trent Baker, he's done a wonderful job of getting ahead in some of the counts here as he's looked solid on the mound so far. As Stallman chops one down to the first baseman, DeSantillo makes it look easy and touches the bag, and the leadoff man is retired to start the bottom half of the third. And got here a little early to this one tonight, and so got a chance to watch some of the batting practice. And as I mentioned, we saw some of the Trailblazers players. They were sending them yard often and plenty during batting practice. As Roberto lays a bunt down, Baker's over to get it. Tough play for him, and he's not even going to get a throw off. And Roberto was on, as I think that one caught Baker off guard. Good play by Roberto, and he's on base for the second time tonight. And he'll get a hit on that one. Good play by the left fielder, Roberto. As we mentioned, he's been strong for the Trailblazers here. As he has 16 hits on the year. He came in with 14 and has 10 runs, leads to both of those departments for Adirondack this year. It's Julio Mercano who comes back to the plate. First pitch swinging at this one. Great play by Cowles. Can he make the throw over to first? No, he can't. A good effort from Ben Cowles, but that was a difficult play. And so Julio Mercano is aboard. And there's runners on first and second for the Trailblazers now, with 1 gone in the bottom half of the third. First trouble we've seen for Trent Baker tonight. It'll be counted as a hit for Julio Mercano. And it's Vinny Martin who comes back to the plate. He was walked his first time up, as he tries to get the Trailblazers on the board as he has Roberto in scoring position now. Baker coming into the inning had only given up 1 hit. He's given up back-to-back hits, and so the Trailblazers have 3 compared to the Pilots' 5 here in the bottom half of the third. Pilots lead 2-0 in this one. Roberto is going to take off for third, but Vinny Martin went around and fouled that one off. I couldn't believe my own eyes that Roberto actually took off there. He didn't look like he got too good of a jump. And you had to imagine with someone like Trent Baker that is a fastball pitcher, and obviously most of his pitchers are coming in there at around 90 miles per hour. It's difficult to get and steal the base when Babin gets that ball in his glove so quickly. Martin sends one down the third baseline, and that's going to bring Roberto around to score. Martin will push for 2, and he has an RBI double as Roberto comes around to score. And the Trailblazers cut the Pilots' lead in half as it's 2-1 now. Impressive hitting display there by Vinny Martin as he was able to send that one to opposite field. And the Trailblazers have gotten their bats into the game here as it's a 2-1 ball game now, as they have 3 hits in the inning. Martin picks up the RBI, and it's David Mercano who comes to the plate now. His brother Julio is down there on third, as he'll try to bring him around to score. David Mercano batting in the DH spot tonight, has 36 at-bats with 6 runs and 12 hits to his name, and has 2 RBIs. David Mercado with a 1-1 count. With one gone here in the bottom half of the third. Holds off on that one as Baker misses outside, and we've seen that become a reoccurring theme here. He's just hasn't been able to hit that outside corner, and so it's a 2-1 count now. Mercado fouls one off behind home plate, and so the count runs even at 2-2. Plenty of kids here to catch all these foul balls. I wonder if they get returned or not, or they become all souvenirs. There's been plenty of them here in the early going to this one. But it's a 2-2 count now to David Mercado. Sends one over to Cowles at second. He's got to make the play, and he's safe, and another run comes across to score. And the Pilots don't get any outs out of it as Cowles couldn't make the play over to first. And so we're tied at 2 as the Trailblazers have got a pair in the bottom of the third now. And 2 plays from Ben Cowles that were very difficult for him to make. You really can't put the blame on him at all. Especially with that first one, as it was kind of a diving play, and it would have been Derek Jeter-like if he was able to toss that one to first and get the out, but it was a good effort from him. But it leads us to a tie game at 2-2. Colbert will make a mound visit to chat things over with Trent Baker as he's given up 4 straight hits. And as we just mentioned, you really can't put the blame on anyone for those. Just kind of a couple tricky plays. Roberto had the good bunt there, and then a pair of hits from the 2 Trailblazers that came down to Cowles, and some good base running to get down to first. And Adirondack has a pair here, and we're all tied at 2 now, and so it's a ball game at Hanson Aggregates Field. Pilots have played in plenty close games this year so far, as they try to figure out how to close out a couple. As there's 5 hits apiece in this one now for both sides. Runners on the corners with 1 gone. Baker misses inside. So the count goes to 2-0. And it's Tim Carroll back at the plate. He's 0 for 1. He's grounded out. Baker will throw down to first. He stands solo. Can't get the tag in time, and so David Mercado is back in safely at first. Baker with another pickoff play. That one was fairly close. Now will deliver. This one fouled up by Carroll. And so the count goes 2-1 on him now. Baker, he's showing a couple of good pickoff plays there down to first. I know it's a little difficult for most fans at home to see that are watching. But we're trying to do the best we can here. This one's fouled off again by Baker. Oh, it was a line drive that time. And so the count is 2-2 to Carroll, and the Trailblazers have runners at the corners here. Baker from the stretch. Carroll fouls off his 3rd consecutive pitch. That one right on the roof of the concession stand. Carroll batting .333 with 18 at-bats, has 6 hits. And has come across to score 3 times as Baker checks up on Mercado down there at first again. DeSan Solo. keeping busy over there at first. Baker misses high, and so the count runs full. Baker in jeopardy of walking the bases loaded here. First trouble he's seen here in the bottom half of the third. Trailblazers have gotten a pair to tie this one up from Hanson Aggregates Field. And Baker misses low, and so he walks the bases loaded. And Baker has to hope that they can turn a double play for him here in the infield, as there's one gone. And it's Polichetti, who's 0 for 1, who comes back in for the Trailblazers now. This one fouled back. And Polichetti behind the count, 0-1 after the foul ball. Baker tries to limit the damage here. Polichetti did not go around on that ball outside, and so the count goes to 1-1 on him. And there's just a swarm of kids ready to catch these foul balls now out here. That one gets by Babin, coming home and scoring on a wild pitch. As Vinnie Martin and the Trailblazers take a 3-2 lead now. As that one looked like it went right between the wickets of Ty Babin. A pretty short backstop here at Hanson Aggregates Field, but it was enough for Vinnie Martin to get a good bounce off a third, and he slides into home. And so a wild pitch from Trent Baker allows another run to come across for Adirondack. Another ball to Polichetti runs the count to 3-1. As Ryan Wynn is getting loose in the bullpen for the Pilots. Baker, another walk from him. His command seems to be a little all over the place right now. It's the fourth walk of the night for Trent Baker. As he picked up the loss in his first game that he pitched in. Would love to try and leave with a lead in this one, but he's down 3-2 now. Big cut from the catcher Caruso as he fouls that one off. And the count goes to 0-1 on him. Bases are loaded once again for Adirondack, and there's still one gone here in the bottom half of the third as the Trailblazers have been able to tack on 3 runs, and they lead 3-2 now. Caruso, he walked his first time up and also had a stolen base. Baker ready to go now. That one misses low and away. And it's ball 1 to Caruso. And so the count goes to 1-1 on him now. Caruso batting .278 for the Trailblazers this year on 18 at-bats. Baker can't paint the corner on that one. And so the count goes to 2-1 on Caruso now. Caruso with 5 hits on the year has come across to score 3 times. He's been walked 5 times this year, including the one tonight. Caruso looks at another ball, and Baker's night might be dwindling here if he's not able to throw a strike. This is a 3-1 count with the bases loaded. He gets one there to fall as he paints the corner, and the count runs full now. Big pitch here for Trent Baker as there's one gone. Trailblazers have the bases loaded. Baker's ready with the payoff pitch. Misses inside, and another run's going to come across to score. As Caruso has walked for the second straight time in this game, and the Trailblazers have a 4-2 lead now. We've seen this time and time again from the Pilots so far this year. It's just been one or two innings where things just seem to slip away from them. And that's what's happened here in the bottom half of the third as the Trailblazers have tacked on 4 runs now, after being down 2-0 coming in to the bottom half of the third. It's the center fielder McCaffrey back at the plate for Adirondack. He's 0 for 1 on the evening. McCaffrey batting .231 in 13 at-bats, has 3 hits, and has come across to score 3 times for the Trailblazers this year. It's a 1-0 count to McCaffrey as the bases remain loaded, and there's still one gone. Feels like we've been there for a while now. Baker throws in a strike, and the count goes to 1-1 on McCaffrey now. Both of these teams trying to get their seasons going in the right direction, as Adirondack is 2-8 on the year, and the Pilots are 1-7. Adirondack, they started the year 0-8 before winning their last 2 games. Pilots on a 3-game losing skid after the win last Friday in Geneva. McCaffrey fouls this one off, and the count goes to 2-2. Pilots trying to salvage something out of this road trip, as they lost the doubleheader to Elmira and dropped a morning contest to Jamestown before having a game rained out against Albany yesterday. Big cut and a miss from McCaffrey, and so Baker gets the strikeout, and the bases are still loaded with 2 gone now as we head to the top of the order for Adirondack. And it's Stallman who comes back to the plate. He's 0 for 2 in the evening.
Number 11.
Baker picks up his third K of the evening. That one's well inside on Stallman as he gets out of the way. And so it's ball 1 to Stallman. As the Trailblazers have gotten 3 or 4 here in the bottom half of the third. Stallman flies one into right field. Underneath it is Robinson to make the play. And so the Trailblazers leave 3 on base, but get 4. They take a 4-2 lead as we head to the top of the fourth here at Hanson Aggregates Field. So after a quick second inning, the Trailblazers drag out the bottom half of the third as they tack on 4 runs and take a 4-2 lead as we head to the top of the fourth now. Ben Cowles is back at the plate. As we remember, back in the top of the third, Pilots got 1, but Ty Babin was thrown out at home as he tried to score on a wild throw, but was tagged out at home. So Cowles is back at the plate as he is 0 for 1 on the evening with a strikeout. Cowles, as we mentioned, here for tonight and tomorrow, and then he heads off to Maryland as he sends one into left, making the play there, and yes, he does. Good play there from Roberto out in left field as he retires Cowles, and there's one gone here in the top of the fourth. Good play from Roberto as he tracked that one down in left field. Looked like it might fall as it was sort of a line drive hit, but Roberto, who is 2 for 2 on the evening, looking good in the outfield as well as he's able to make the play. And so there's one gone, and Xavier Warren strides back in. He's 0 for 1 in the evening. Warren first swinging at that one on the first pitch, and that one's high into center field, and there's quickly 2 gone now.
Now batting, number 21.
Griffin Robinson. As we see a couple of Pilots coming back to the plate that are new to the team here tonight. As Griffin Robinson is 0 for 1, plays at St. Louis. Out there in right field tonight for the Pilots. Robinson takes a big cut at that one and misses, and so it's strike 1 to him. As we play ball here as the night falls upon us here at Hanson Aggregates Field in Boonville, New York. Nice 2-hour trip from Newark, New York here for the Pilots here tonight. As we'll head back to Colburn Park tomorrow after a week off. Pilots fans will be back out, ready to cheer on Newark as they take on the Glen Falls Dragons. Robinson, another big cut at that one, and he is behind in the count 1-2. As Mike Sansone tries to make it a 1-2-3 inning for him. Here in the top of the fourth is his Adirondack Trailblazers lead 4-2. That one's in the dirt as Robinson has a good eye, and it pushes the count to 2-2 now. 5 hits apiece in this one. But a couple of walks from Trent Baker has allowed the Trailblazers to gain a 2-run lead. Robinson holds off on one as he was able to not go around on that. So the count goes to full on him as he tries to get himself on with 2 gone. Action in the bullpen for the Trailblazers now as Robinson sends one to right field, and it looks like this one's going to drop in there. It's going to be fair. Robinson will easily be into second. Let's see if he pushes for 3. He won't. And so it's a stand-up double for Griffin Robinson with 2 outs in the bottom of the top of the fourth. The Pilots have a man aboard. Griffin Robinson picking up his first hit as a Pilot. And Zach Priesta, we really didn't get to mention, is he swung at the first pitch he saw and quickly flied out his first appearance up. Another new Pilot. We've been saying that plenty of times tonight. Zach Priesta from Northville, Michigan, plays at Kalamazoo College. And Griffin Robinson had 29 at-bats this past year for St. Louis and had 4 RBIs on 5 hits, was batting .172 in his junior year. And he's in scoring position with 2 gone. It's a 4-2 lead for the Trailblazers here at Hanson Aggregates Field. And hope you're not distracted by the kids in front of the camera. As Priesta is ready to go. Takes a crack at another first pitch, but this one's fouled off, so he'll get to hang around in the batter's box as it's an 0-1 count to him. These kids must know that the camera is literally right in front of them because they seem to be pretty set on standing right here. So we'll try to work through that. We're doing what we can here tonight. 0-1 count here. Priesta showing bunt. Gets out of the way of that one, but seemed to catch a piece of his bat, and so the count goes to 1-1. Hard to see from here, but it thought he was able to get out of the way of that one, but I guess it caught the end of his bat, and so the count goes to 1-1 on him. With Griffin Robinson still over on second. Priesta sends one right up center, and that's going to send Robinson around from third. Is he going to hold up? Yes, he will. Priesta's going to slide into second. Now Robinson's taking off for home. And there's going to be no throw, and Griffin Robinson ends up getting in. And a strange set of events that unfolded there as Griffin Robinson looked like he wanted to come home. Colbert held him up. He came back to third. Priesta went over to second. Then there was the throw down to second. Was over the head of the second baseman, Carroll. And then Robinson came home to score. And so all is well. And the Pilots get another one back. And it's 4-3 now as they're starting to trade punches here. As Priesta is over on second. Top of the order now for the Pilots. It's Dawson Bailey. Bailey 0 for 2 has a pair of strikeouts. If we remember his last at-bat, didn't like that call that he got on the inside part of the plate. He's hugging it pretty hard right now. Bailey flies one high in the air. It's going to settle in the infield, and so there's one stranded here in the top of the fourth. Pilots get one back, and they're down in this one 4-3 as the Trailblazers will come back to the plate when we come back here on Newark Pilots TV. Trent Baker remains on the mound for the Pilots as we start the bottom half of the fourth. It's Roberto back at the plate. He's 2 for 2 as he takes a crack at this one on the first pitch, and it's fouled off right to our left here. And it's strike one to him. Roberto, we saw him get a one-out double back in the first inning, and then his last time up, bunted to get on, sends one hard down the third baseline as he's behind in the count 0-2 as he got some good wood on that one. So he seems to be a legitimate threat at the plate. So he chops this one down to DeSansolo, and he will be retired for the first time this evening. And so there's one gone to start us off here in the bottom half of the fourth. Trailblazers lead us in this one 4-3, a much chillier night here in Boonville, New York than it is back in Newark or wherever you may be watching from. Temperature is just around 55 here for this Thursday night contest. Pilots trying to pick up their second win of the year and jumpstart their season. Still early enough where a win streak for the Pilots would jump them right back into contention. In the West Division, Adirondack plays in the Central Division. As Mercano chops one down to Cowles. Nice play from Cowles. Can he get it over to first? Yes, he can. Ben Cowles strutting his stuff down there at shortstop. And I've read plenty of scouting reports on Ben Cowles, and his shortstop abilities are one of the main reasons why he is playing at Maryland University in Division I baseball next year. And we've seen a pair of plays earlier in the night where it was difficult for him to make the play, but that one right there, he made it look easy, and it was not easy at all for him as he had to get that one, throw it across his body, and he makes the play over to DeSantolo at first, and there's quickly two retired for Trent Baker, and he's got to be happy to see that after the long inning that he had in the bottom half of the third. Martin shatters his bat. Oh, what a difficult play this could be. Over to Baker, and he's able to touch the bag, and there's a 1-2-3 inning here for Trent Baker in the bottom half of the fourth. Pilots trailing this one 4-3. They'll be back up when we come back on Newark Pilots TV. Hello, folks. I'm Dan Cooters. We welcome you back to Hanson Aggregates Field here in Boonville, New York, as the Trailblazers lead the Pilots 4-3. And a very quick and efficient inning there for Trent Baker is a much-needed 1-2-3 inning for him after giving up 4 in the bottom half of the third. He comes back and retires the hitters in order as we get set to play ball once again here in the top half of the fifth now. Serfolio back at the plate for the Pilots. He fouls this one off as the count goes to 1-1 on him. Serfolio 1 for 2 as he struck out his last time up, but was able to get a hit in his first at-bat as a Pilot and came across to score as well, as he has one of the 3 runs for the Pilots here tonight. Pilots out hitting the Trailblazers 7-5 in this one so far, but they trail by 1 run. Serfolio chops one back to Stallman at short. The play over to first, and he gets Serfolio to retire the leadoff man here in the top of the fifth.
Now batting, number 31, the first baseman, Jared DeSantolo.
So Jared DeSantolo comes back to the plate in his Pilot's debut. He's 2 for 2, so he's looked quite well for Matt Colbert so far tonight. DeSantolo, as we've mentioned, plays at Florida Atlantic. DeSansolo with a 1-0 count now. Takes a big cut at that one and misses, and so the count runs even at 1-1 on him. Mike Sansone, he's back on the mound for his 5th inning of work. He's given up 7 hits and 3 runs in this one. He's able to get that one to fall in for a strike, and so he's ahead of DeSansolo with a 1-2 count. DeSansolo going to have to get aggressive at the plate now, and he will as he chops that one down into the bullpen of Adirondack, and the count will remain at 1-2. As DeSansolo digs back in. As there's one gone here in the top half of the 5th. As the lefty Mike Sansone trying to get his 2nd out of the inning now. DeSansolo fights that one off down the 3rd baseline. And he keeps the count where it is. Mike Sansone, as we mentioned, getting set to play at Fairfield this upcoming year from Cheshire, Connecticut. Stands at 5'10", 180 on the mound for the Trailblazers here tonight. DeSansolo chops one right back up to the mound. And Sansone is able to make the play over to first, and there's 2 retired now here in the top of the 5th.
Now batting, number 16, the catcher, Ty Babin.
That's the catcher, Ty Babin, who got a hit his last time up before being thrown out at home. As he's ready to go for the Pilots again. There's 2 outs here in the top half of the 5th. Pilots trailing the Blazers 4-3 in this one. Adirondack got all 4 of their runs back in the bottom half of the 3rd. As Sansone throws an off-speeder in there, but it misses inside, and so Babin sees ball 1 to him. Sansone able to catch the outside part of the plate with that one as Caruso was able to tuck it in there. And count goes to 1-1 now. Big swing and a miss there from Babin. He's behind in the count 1-2 now. Ty Babin plays at Campbell. Hit 255 and 149 at bat, so plenty of plate appearances for him as he had 38 hits and 24 RBIs for Campbell. Babin looks at one that could have been called a strike but was not, and so the count goes to 2-2. As Babin was walked once tonight and also has a hit. Babin chops one up to the 2nd baseman. Carroll is able to make the play over to first, and it's a 1-2-3 inning for Sansone. The score remains at 4-3. Blazers coming back up when we come back here at Hanson Aggregates Field. After a quick inning for Trent Baker in the bottom half of the fourth, he comes back on the mound for his fifth inning of work as he's given up 5 hits and 4 earned runs, or 3 earned runs. He also had a walk that brought in another run. As the Trailblazers lead this one 4-3 as night is upon us here in the Adirondacks. Baker able to get one to fall on the outside part of the plate, and so he's ahead in the count, 0-1. As it's David Mercano who gets us going in the bottom half of the fifth in the DH spot, and he sends one into left. Ooh, a big hopper. That could have been trouble for Priesta, but he's able to snag it, and it keeps Mercano on first. But David Mercano has his second hit, and it moves him to 2-3 on the evening now. Tim Carroll comes back up now, the second baseman. He was walked his last time up. He's 0 for 1 on the evening. As Mercano has the Trailblazers' 7th hit of the evening. Carroll is showing bunt there, but he backs off, but it's a strike to him, and so it's a 0-1 count. And so we'll see how long Trent Baker goes after allowing David Mercano, the leadoff man, to get aboard. This one squeaks away from DeSantolo, and Mercano is into second after Baker tried the pickoff play, and DeSantolo couldn't handle it. A tough play there is Trent Baker. We've seen a good pickoff play from him. But David Mercano was back in plenty of time on that one, and it looked like DeSantolo had it, but it just squeaked under his glove, and it allows Mercano to move into scoring position. It's an error charge to Baker. First of the game for either side. And now another one. It's a wild pitch that escapes. And David Mercano is over to third now, just like that. And it doesn't get much easier for David Mercano. And that's trouble for Trent Baker as there's none gone here in the bottom half of the fifth, and David Mercano is threatening over at third. Anything in the air from Carroll out into the outfield. And now another wild pitch from Baker, and that's going to allow the run to score. Difficult play for Trent Baker as a wild throw on the pickoff play sends Mercano to second. Then a wild pitch sends him to third. And another wild pitch sends him home. A couple of unforced errors there from Trent Baker allow the 5th run of the evening to come across and score for the Trailblazers, and they take a 2-run 5-3 lead here at Hanson Aggregates Field. All this happened with Carroll at the plate. Now he chops one down to the shortstop Cowles, and he makes the play over to first, and so there's one gone. After that whole debacle of David Mercano rounding the bases and scoring, and after that, that is going to be the evening for Trent Baker, and so he gives up 7 hits. He gets an error just now and gives up 5 runs. It was a good start for him, but just a couple of unforced errors from him. And he will exit the game. And Ryan Wynn will come in now for the Pilots to take over from Bowdoin College, and we will step away for a minute as he gets us warmed up here from Hanson Aggregates Field, and Trent Baker exits the game with the Trailblazers up 5-3 in this one. We welcome you back into Hanson Aggregates Field. Dan Cooter here as we rejoin you on a Thursday evening as the Trailblazers lead the Pilots 5-3 as Trent Baker exits the mound. For Newark, and it's Ryan Wynn who takes over. Wynn, who we've seen in a couple of games this year, and most recently had the start against Elmira. He's pitched 5 innings this year, has given up 6 hits, 1 earned run, and has 6 Ks to his name as he takes over in relief of Trent Baker, as there's no men on and 1 gone. And it's Polichetti who comes back in for the Trailblazers. John Polichetti from Atkinson, New Hampshire, plays at UMass Lowell. Stands on the left side of the plate at 6'2", 165. He'll be the first Trailblazer to see Ryan Wynn, as Wynn throws in a ball. And so the count is 1-0 to Polichetti, and we got a chance to watch Wynn warm up there, and he slipped on the mound once, and he's been fooling around with that dirt on the mound ever since as he tries to get comfortable up there. Polichetti flies one up. It's foul. We'll see if he can make a play on it. Oh, what a play by Serfolio! He goes over the fence and makes the play in foul territory, and there's 2 retired now in the bottom of the 5th. What a play by Serfolio. Over at third base, making his first start of the year for the Pilots. He's making a name for himself here in Newark, as he is 1 for 3 on the evening. He's come across to score for the Pilots, and now he's got a beautiful gem play down at third. Ryan Wynn's got to love it as he gets some help on the mound to start us off. And there's 2 gone now, as it's the catcher Caruso back at the plate. Caruso, he's reached on a walk both of his plate appearances tonight. Wynn tosses in an off-speeder there, and that's going to be something the Trailblazers are going to have to adjust to, as Baker, more of a fastball pitcher, as we can seen him throw some heat as Wynn tosses a fastball in there. But I've talked to Wynn, as he's got a couple of pitches he'd likes to go to, a slider and a 4-seam fastball are his specialties, as he's got Caruso in a 1-2 count. Off speeder to swing and a miss from Caruso, and just like that, the inning's over. So Wynn takes care of business. And it's a 5-3 lead for the Trailblazers as we head to the top of the 6th here on NewarkPilots.tv. Dan Cooter back here at Hanson Aggregates Field as Mike Sansone gets ready to work his 6th inning on the mound for the Trailblazers, as his squad is up 5-3 in this one. Get you your out-of-town scoreboard in the bottom of the 6th. The Blue Sox of Utica up on Mohawk Valley, 6-0. And the top of the 7th, Amsterdam has a 6-2 lead over Albany, who Newark was supposed to play yesterday, but it got rained out. And then some West Division rivals for the Pilots. Jamestown Jammers continuing their hot start to the season. They lead Socrates 6-3. And then Geneva and Elmira doing battle. In the bottom of the 6th, it's Geneva up on top 3-2 in that one. As we get you set for the top of the 6th here, Pilots Down 2 runs in this one. It's been a back and forth affair in this one. 7 hits apiece for both teams.
Leading off the fifth inning for the Pilots is number 10, the DH, Alan Murphy.
And it's the DH, Alan Murphy, who strides back in now for the Pilots. He's 1 for 2. Had a sac fly RBI his first time up, and then an RBI double the second time. And so Alan Murphy has batted in 6 runs, including those 2. Now in the year for the Pilots, Murphy swings at this one. It's going to be a difficult play for the second baseman. Can he make it? Yes, he can. Great play there by Tim Carroll over at second, as it looked like Alan Murphy had a chance to get down to first as the leadoff man, but good play by Carroll over at second. As he fixes up the socks after slide down on that one. So there's 1 retired, and Ben Cowles comes back to the plate. Cowles 0 for 2 on the evening. We've seen a couple of good plays from short from him. As we get a mound visit here to Mike Sancone. As we've seen plenty of action in the Trailblazers bullpen, as one just completely missed the bullpen catcher and came behind home plate here. Xavier Warren's out there to grab that one. As Alan Murphy has just been retired for the first out of the inning here in the top of the 6th. As it's Ben Cowles back at the plate now for the Pilots. Off speeder just didn't come around and catch that outside part of the plate. And so the count goes to 1-0 on Ben Cowles. On one from my vantage point that looked even more outside of the first one. Ends up becoming a strike. And so Cowles having to deal with that one. And the count goes to 1-1 as Sancone is able to get that one to fall. Cowles lays off that one, but it falls in for a strike. And so he's behind in the count 1-2 now. Cowles big swing and a miss in his second strikeout of the evening. And there's quickly 2 gone here in the top of the 6th is Sancone. The left-hander looking good on the mound here for the Trailblazers. It's Xavier Warren who comes back to the plate. He's 0 for 2 on the evening. This has been tough sledding for Cowles and Warren here in the 6-7 spots for the Pilots as he looks at strike 1, from Sancone. And so it's an 0-1 count to him now. Xavier Warren, we've seen him all around the infield. He played shortstop, base, and now he's over at second base here tonight. Takes a swing at this one, and he's got himself a 2-out single as it founds the gap in the infield and heads into left field. And so Warren is aboard as he has his first hit of the evening and his 7th hit of the year. And so Xavier Warren down there on first as Griffin Robinson comes back to the plate. He was able to come across and score after that kind of odd play where he was held up at third and then the ball ended up escaping the second baseman after Priesta made his way over to second, and Robinson came home to score as he is 1 for 2 on the evening. That one in the dirt. Caruso does a good job to keep it in front of him, and it keeps Warren over there at first. Warren has 3 stolen bases on the year, so he is a threat to run if given the chance. Robinson, as we mentioned, plays at St. Louis. He's wearing number 21 for the Pilots in his first appearance of the year. That one's well inside. Manages to lift the leg and get out of the way as that one. It looked like it might have caught the ankle, but nevertheless, he will stand in as he has a 2-0 count now. Griffin chops one right back up to Sancone. Sancone will flip it to first, and that'll do it. So the Pilots strand one, and the score remains 5-3. As the Trailblazers will come back to the plate here at Hanson Aggregates Field on Newark Pilots TV.
McCaffrey, number 37.
5-3 ball game here at Hanson Aggregates Field. I'm Dan Cooter. We welcome you back in here on Newark Pilots TV. And it's Ryan Wynn back on the mound for the Pilots as we get set to get going here in the bottom half of the sixth. Trailblazers lead 5-3 in this one as Wynn tosses in strike one. There's a center fielder, McCaffrey, here batting in the ninth spot for the Trailblazers, leads us off. Off speeder from Wynn is in there, and McCaffrey is quickly behind in the count, 0-2. And I think something that I mentioned back in the last inning here is another off speeder. Just misses inside. Is that off speed pitch? You had to figure that a lot of the Trailblazers, it's going to take a at bat or two to kind of adjust to that, as they've been seeing a lot of fastballs from Trent Baker, who was the starter for the Pilots. Ty Babin is ready to go again behind home plate, and Wynn is into the windup with a 1-2. McCaffrey's able to hold off of that one, and so the count goes to even at 2-2. Trip McCaffrey from Mullica Hill, New Jersey, plays at UMass Lowell, along with a bunch of Trailblazers on this team. Big swing and a miss from McCaffrey, and it's a K for Ryan Wynn, and the leadoff man is retired on strikes here to start the bottom half of the sixth. Trailblazers turn the order over as Stallman comes back to the plate. He's struggled to this point so far as he's 0 for 3. Stallman will look at ball one outside from Ryan Wynn to get us going. As Pilots have 8 hits in this one, Trailblazers with 7. Big cut from Stallman as he gets wood on that one and fouls it off. And the count goes to 1-1 on him. Trailblazers have 7 hits, as I mentioned. 5-3 they lead in this game, however. Big bottom of the third inning for them as they got 4 runs. Wynn gets an off-speeder to fall in, and he's ahead in the count 1-2 now. And that off-speed pitch, he got McCaffrey swinging and missing an air on that one, and he's got Stallman behind after looking at that one. As Wynn dealing here since taking over for Baker, and he gets another one down on strikes. Ryan Wynn, he's looking good out there on the mound since taking over for Trent Baker. As there's quickly 2 gone now, and Roberto comes back to the plate. Stallman strikes out for his second time of the evening. As Ryan Wynn has 3 strikeouts here since taking over. in relief, and he gets Roberto to look at strike one there. Here's the 0-1 from Wynn. Roberto pops one up into left field. Underneath it is Serfolio, the third baseman, and it's a 1-2-3 inning for Ryan Wynn. And a quick one here in the 6th inning. We head to the top of the 7th. Pilots still down by 2, 5-3. Dan Cooter back here on Newark Pilots TV. We welcome you back into Hanson Aggregates Field as the Trailblazers lead in this one 5-3, and it's a new pitcher on the mound for Adirondack as it's Kyle Smith from Whitby, Ontario. We've seen Smith in 2 games this season. He started both of them, so this being his first relief appearance of the year, as he's pitched 5 2/3 innings, giving up 8 hits and 7 earned runs. He's walked 7 batters and struck out 4 of them, and so we'll see if the Pilots can get something going against Kyle Smith here as they're down 5-3 in this one. And it's the bottom of the order. Zach Priesta leading us off here in the top of the 7th. Smith misses with the fastball up high, and so it's a 1-0 count as Priesta is 1 for 2 on the evening in his first appearance of the year with the Pilots, and that's something we've discussed a couple of times here tonight. 5 new Newark players here in the game tonight for them as Smith misses high again, and so it's a 2-0 count. Priesta, as we've mentioned, plays at Kalamazoo College, and he's ready to go as Smith starts him off with 2 balls. Ooh, and that one misses well outside, and so it's quickly 3-0 now as Caruso will talk to Smith as Smith tries to settle things down here as he comes on in relief of Sansone, who goes 6 strong, giving up 3 runs on 8 hits. And he leads the game with a chance to be the winner in this one as his team is up 5-3. As Smith is ready to go on the mound again. And he throws another ball, and so it's a leadoff walk for Priesta. And the Pilots bullpen is letting Kyle Smith have it as the Trailblazers bullpen was doing the same. So a little bit of hard love between the two teams here. But it's a big walk Zach Priesta is aboard here to begin the top half of the 7th, and we've seen leadoff walks are just detrimental as Kyle Smith throws his first strike in relief. But for any pitcher, it's got to be just a little bit demoralizing when you come into the game and you throw 4 straight balls and walk the leadoff man. And so we'll see if he can recover. Throw down to first, and Priesta's back in plenty of time as it's a new hitter now for the Pilots as Dawson Bailey will come out of the game and Parker Tadlock enters. Bailey, he was 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts. Kind of an odd night for him, as we've mentioned. He's been good at the plate. He was 406 coming into the game for the Pilots. Smith, a wild throw there going down to first, and Priesta, he's going to be a second, and he's going to push for 3. Zach Priesta, here comes the throw, and it's wide again. And Priesta is going to come home now. Here comes the slide, and he's in. Priesta all the way from first. I couldn't keep up with him. He was moving so fast, and he is home to score. And the Pilots have cut the Trailblazers' lead to 5-4. Smith threw that one so hard down to first that it went sliding down the bullpen as there's a pitcher warming up in the bullpen. And it went down the fence, and it allowed Priesta to come around to third. And then the throw from first was over the head of the third baseman, Folichetti, and it allowed Priesta to come home and score. So a wild scene there. Priesta needs the oxygen mask after that one. And with none gone, Priesta has come around to score, and it's a 5-4 game now. Tadlock chops one to Carroll over at second, and Carroll will make the play to first, and so there's one retired here in the top half of the 7th.
Now batting number 3, the third baseman, Matt Serfolio, number 3.
Matt Serfolio comes back to the plate. He's 1 for 3. We saw that impressive play he had on the third baseline, his out there in the infield, as he was able to snag a foul ball that was going over the fence. A remarkable play from him, and he's back at the plate now. Serfolio looks at strike one there, and so he's behind the count 0-1. As it's a tight one here at Hanson Aggregates Field as the Trailblazers lead by 1, 5-4. As Kyle Smith is on the mound now, taking over for Mike Sansone, who went 6 innings for the Trailblazers in this one. Serfolio ready to go with the plate again. That one catches the inside corner, and we've seen a lot of pitches that look like balls on the inside part of the plate falling in there for strikes. And so as a hitter, you kind of got to keep that into account when you're on the mound there. And so the count is 1-2 as Serfolio backs off. And he'll enter again and get ready for the 1-2 delivery from Kyle Smith as the bases are cleared here with 1 gone in the top of the 7th. That one's well inside, right on the belt region of Serfolio, and he's able to suck in the gut and get out of the way of that one. And so the count goes to 2-2 on him now. Smith ready with the delivery. Serfolio chops one into left, and he's going to have himself a base hit. Impressive at-bat from Serfolio. And he gets a opposite field single. The 9th hit of the night for the Pilots. And there's one aboard with 1 gone here in the top of the 7th. Priesta has come around to score. as the Pilots have cut into the Trailblazers' lead, and a mound visit here to Kyle Smith. As we welcome you in here, I'm Dan Cooter at Hanson Aggregates Field. Made the trip up here into the Adirondacks for this away trip as the road swing concludes for Newark. Happy to be home tomorrow at Colburn Park again tomorrow. A chilly night here in Boonville, New York. As the sun is set. The stars are not out, though, as there's plenty of clouds here on this overcast night. Just a mound visit as Kyle Smith will stay in the game. And with the lights on here, I'm just trying to get you guys the best picture here, as I know it's kind of tough to see. Really tough to see, actually. So those lights are beaming down. I guess I'm just going to have to be better at commentating. So Serfolio is over there at first now. Oh, and now DeSanto is hit, and that was a hard pitch there from Smith. And T. Santolo, he tossed the bat pretty hard on that one. I haven't seen that one yet in this league. For Kyle Smith, he struggled on the mound here as he gives up one. And the Trailblazers, they still have a 5-4 lead, but there's 2 men on here now. As we'll get you the new pitcher when we come back here to Hanson Aggregates Field. I'm Dan Cooter here on NewarkPilots.tv. Dan Cooter here once again as we welcome you back into Hanson Aggregates Field. A new pitcher on the mound for the Trailblazers. It's another left-hander, and it's Anthony Stillwagon from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, plays at Malone. And a interesting scene of events as we were away. The home umpire made his way out to the mound as Stillwagon was warming up and ushered him to get rid of the glove he had on. And obviously the home umpire did not approve of it. And Stillwagon put up a little bit of a fight before he tossed the glove he had in his hand and retrieved a new one from the bullpen. And so not exactly sure what that was about, but we'll see how it goes for Stillwagon with the new glove. Big cut from the catcher Babin after DeSantolo was hit. And he is aboard now. Serfolio is over there at second as there's one gone here in the top half of the seventh. Pilots trailing the Trailblazers by one. As we get time here right before Stillwagon goes into the windup, and so we'll reset. Babin 1 for 2 in the evening, has been walked as well, making his Pilots debut, along with the two runners for the Pilots on base right now. Stillwagon misses with that one outside, and so the count goes to 1-1. And as we've touched on, the Trailblazers with a 2-game win streak, trying to make it 3 here tonight. Pilots trying to pick up their second win of the year as they're on a 3-game skid right now. Babin looks at a ball outside from Anthony Stillwagon, as Stillwagon stands at 6'4", 205 on the mound, as he is ready with the 2-1 delivery. Big cut from Babin as he gets air on that one, and so the count goes to 2-2. Pilots with 9 hits in this one, Trailblazers with 7, as they have the upper hand, 5-4 in this one. Pilots have gotten one back here in the top half of the seventh, as Stillwagon is on for Kyle Smith, who couldn't come on in relief of Sansone and take care of business, and so Stillwagon will try to do that. Babin chops one right back up to Stillwagon. He can't get a handle on it. Tough play here for the shortstop, and he gets him. Good play by Stallman, and so there's 2 gone. The runners advance, but Babin is called out at first on a very close play, as it looked like the catcher Stillwagon was going to be able to get the glove on it, but it ended up coming down to Stallman at shortstop, and he made the tough play over to first to retire the second man of the inning. But the runners do advance, and so they're at second and third now as Serfolio is over there at third. And Alan Murphy comes back to plate, has 2 RBIs, and it's 1 for 3. As he had a sac fly RBI his first time up, and then an RBI double his second. Shortstop Cowles is due up next for the Pilots if Alan Murphy can get on here. Murphy looks at a ball from Stillwagon, and so the count goes to 2-0 on him. Stillwagon gets the call from Caruso, and he's ready to go with the 2-0 now. Murphy hits one high and deep to right field. Could it go? Yes, it will! Alan Murphy goes yard! Into right field it goes, and he's got the first home run of the year for the Pilots. And it's a 3-run home run, and the Pilots take a 7-5 lead. That one headed deep into the night sky, and there really was no doubt about that one as we mentioned it's a hitter's ballpark, and it's 310 to that right field, and that one never had a chance of keeping in. And so Stillwagon gives up a 3-run home run, and the Pilots have 4 here in the top half of the 7th, and they have a 7-5 lead now. And got a chance to talk to a couple of the players, and they said if you're going to get a home run, this is the place to do it. And obviously none of them have really gotten a chance to see what this field has to offer. But getting to see the Trailblazers warm up in batting practice, it was apparent that the home runs could fly around here in this park tonight. It's the first one we've seen, but it's a huge one for the Pilots. As Ben Cowles is at the plate now. He's got a 2-1 count. As I mentioned, it's the first home run of the year for this Newark squad, and it comes in their 9th game of the year. Ben Cowles has himself a hitting count, as it's a 3-1 count to him. Murphy with the 3-run home run. It's the 10th hit of the night for the Pilots. Stillwagon ready with the delivery. Cowles will lay off of it, and it's in there for a strike, and so the count is moved full with 2 gone here in the top half of the 7th. Stillwagon ready with the payoff pitch. Big cut and a miss from Cowles, and so that'll do it. But the Pilots get 4 in the top half of the 7th on a 3-run shot to right field by Alan Murphy. They lead 7-5 as the Trailblazers look to come back in this one now. A 4-run top of the 7th as the Pilots up 7-5 in this one now as the Trailblazers find themselves down in this game for the first time since the 3rd inning. Ryan Wynn returns to the mound as he's been strong for the Pilots since taking over for Trent Baker in this one. It's Julio Mercano who leads us off. He looks at a ball that misses just low, and so the count goes to 1-1 on him. Mercano, he's 1 for 3 on the day, not to be mistaken with his brother David. Wynn misses with one high and tight, and so the count goes to 2 balls and 1 strike here on David Mercano. Pilots with 10 hits in this one, Trailblazers with 7. Just 1 error in the game as it was recorded by Baker. As Wynn tosses another one high and tight, and so the count goes to 3-1 on David Mercano now. Oh, this is Julio. Oh, no. I mistaken him with David. I apologize. That one's inside, though, and Julio's got himself a leadoff of the Mercano brothers from Katy, Texas, play at NJIT. Win gets the K there on Vinny Martin. And so there's one gone as Julio Mercano is held over there at first, and now David Mercano comes to the plate.
Now batting, number 15, the DH, David Mercano, number 15.
David and Julio both stand at 5'10". David, 5 pounds heavier than Julio here on my roster sheet. Not sure if that's exactly true, but it could be. But David wearing number 15, Julio wears number 8. And David is trying to advance his brother over there on first. Wynn will take a peek down at first to Julio, and he'll get back on the bag. And so it's a 1-0 count to David. As there's one gone here in the bottom half of the 7th. Pilots lead 7-5. Runners going. Here's the throw from Babin. It's going to be late. Warren's able to snag it, though. Oh, I wanted Warren to try the hidden ball trick there. I thought he was going to fake the throw back to the mound, but he'll get it back there. And so Julio has himself a stolen base, and he's in a scoring position as the Trailblazers trail by 2 in this one now. As we head to the later stages of this game. As Alan Murphy sent 1 yard to bring home 3 runs in the top half of the 7th. It was part of a 4-run 7th inning for the Pilots, a big one for them. As Wynn gets David Mercano to foul that one off, and he's behind in the count 1-2 now. Wynn trying to retire the second out of the inning and keep Julio at bay over there at second. His brother David at the plate. He's ready with the 1-2 delivery. That one's well outside. Babin's able to keep it in front of him, so the count goes even at 2-2. David Mercano hitting in the DH spot tonight for the Trailblazers. 2 for 3 on the evening as Tim Carroll is on deck. Big swing and a miss there from David Mercano, and there's 2 gone now. Big strikeout for Ryan Wynn.
Now batting, number 28, the second baseman, Tim Carroll.
So the second baseman, Tim Carroll, comes to the plate as Ryan Wynn trying to get out of the inning unscathed after giving out the leadoff walk to Julio Mercano. He's got strike 1 in there on Carroll, and he's ahead of the count 0-1 now. Tim Carroll 0 for 2 on the evening. He has been walked once as well. He's made a couple of good plays over there as second as Wynn took a peek over at Mercano at second. But Warren and Cowell's, neither one of them there, so Wynn will just step off and we'll reset here. As Wynn is ready to go now. Can't paint the corner with that one as Babin tried to bring it back into the outside part of the plate, but it misses, and so the count goes to 1-1 now. Carroll from Ballston, New York, plays at Siena. This one's in the dirt, but Babin keeps it in front of him once again, and so it's 2 balls and 1 strike now. Closely contested game the whole night here as the Pilots are up 7-5 in this one. Big cut by Carroll, and he fouls that one back, and the count goes to 2-2 now. In case you just joined us, the Pilots picked up one in the first inning before getting another one in the third. Big inning in the bottom half of the third for the Trailblazers as they went up 4-2 and then extended it to 5-2. Pilots have come roaring back in this one, though, and they lead 7-5 now. 2-2 count. Carroll gets a swing and a miss, and Ryan Wynn retires him, and the score remains 7-5. A big K for Ryan Wynn. And the score remains where it is as the Pilots come back up to bat when we head to the top of the 8th from Hanson Aggregates Field. A strong top of the 7th for the Pilots has them up 7-5 in this one as Xavier Warren leads off the top of the 8th for us here at Hanson Aggregates Field. I'm Dan Cooter here on NewarkPilots.tv. As we push on into the night, it's still Wagon, the left-hander, back on the mound for the Trailblazers. We've seen him in 4 games this year. He hasn't started any. He's pitched 5 2/3 and has given up 3 hits and 1 earned run. That'll change down the Alan Murphy 3-run home run in this one. Warren looks at a strike on the outside part of the plate, and so the count goes to 1-1 on him. Warren's 1 for 3 on the evening, as he had a single his last time up. Warren back there on the right side of the plate as another left-hander comes to the mound. This one right through the wickets of Caruso, the catcher, as it was in the dirt, and so the count goes to 2-1 on Warren. It'll be the 7, 8, 9 hitters for the Trailblazers when we head to the bottom half of the 8th, as they'll look to put on the rally caps here in this one. Off speeder from Stillwagon is able to fall in there for strike 2, and so the count goes to 2-2 on Xavier Warren now. Warren looks at one in the dirt, and it pushes the count full now. Stillwagon ready with the payoff pitch here. It's outside, and it's a leadoff walk, and Warren will take his base. Good eye there by Xavier Warren after getting behind in the count, and Griffin Robinson comes back to the plate now for the Pilots. Robinson 1 for 3 on the evening. We'll try to advance that runner over at first. We'll see if he lays down a bunt, as there's none gone here in the top half of the eighth. Pilots looking for some insurance runs as they lead 7-5 in this one. Stillwagon ready to go from the stretch. Robinson shows bunt. Now the throw gets away. Warren could be in a pickoff play. Oh, he's able to get back just in time. Xavier Warren got caught in no man's land there as he wanted to go, but the ball just did not get away from Caruso enough. He was able to retreat to first in the nick of time, and so he's back there. And Griffin Robinson showed bunt there, but it was a ball, and so the count is 1-0. We'll see if Robinson shows it again. He will. And he'll lay off again as it was outside, and so the count goes to 2-0. For Stillwagon, I have to wonder if maybe that's messing with his head a little bit as he knows that Griffin Robinson is trying to lay a bunt down here and advance Xavier Warren over there at first. Robinson will take a crack at this one. It's hit hard and high into center field, but back to get it, and Warren will retreat. And there's one gone as Griffin Robinson got good wood on that one, but it was hit into the long part of the field over there in center. And there's one retired. McCaffrey, the center fielder for the Trailblazers, able to make the play there as he tracked that one down. And once again, apologize for kind of the poor lighting here, but we'll do the best we can. Here's a bunt laid down by Priesta. Oh, and there's two men on now as Warren is into second and Priesta is safe at first. Nice wheels there by Zach Priesta as he got down to first. I think Stillwagon, out of his peripheral view, he saw Priesta was wheeling down to first and tried for the barehanded grab and came up empty-handed. So Parker Tadlock, the center fielder who took over for Dawson Bailey, he is 0 for 1 on the evening as he grounded out his first time up. Tadlock, he'll put the bunt down, but it is high and hits the fence, and so it'll be strike one to him. Pilots, they're up 7-5 in this one over the Trailblazers here in the top of the eighth, in case you were wondering, Austin. Pilots had a big seventh inning where they were able to get 4 across home plate. And they lead in this one 7-5 now. Tadlock hits one to the gap in right, and this one's going to fall. Warren is going to hold. That was a good play by Matt Colbert, the third base coach, and also head coaches. Parker Tadlock is on, and the bases are loaded here with one gone now in the top of the eighth. So Tadlock has his first hit of the night after replacing Dawson Bailey in center field. And I mentioned that the third base coach, Colbert, as it looked like Warren was going to make his way home from third there, but that one escaped the infield, and Martin was there, and he was going to make the throw home, and I think he would have had Warren, depending on how accurate it was. But nevertheless, the bases are loaded now as Tadlock is on, and it's the 11th hit of the night for the Pilots. Serfolio, he's back at the plate and 2 for 4 on the evening. Stillwagon trying to get out of the inning with a possible double play ball here. That one is high. Caruso fires that one back to the mound. He was animately upset after he didn't get Warren out on that throw down to first. As I mentioned, Warren got caught in no man's land there, and I thought he was going to get picked off at first, but he did not. And Serfolio chops one of the third basemen. He bobbles it, and he'll go home with it. They get the out. And there's two gone now, as Xavier Warren was not able to get to home in time. And all Caruso had to do was keep his foot on home plate there. But the bases remain loaded. After Polichetti was able to make the play to home. Serfolio was able to get good wood on that one, and I thought maybe it was going to escape down the third baseline, but Polichetti was able to get his body in front of it, able to pick that one up and fire down to home, and there's two gone now. DeSantolo back at the plate. Caruso was able to keep that one in front of him as it was low and outside. DeSantolo 2 for 3 in his Pilots debut. He was hit by a pitch his last time up as well. Back when Kyle Smith was in the game for the Trailblazers, as it's Stillwagon on the mound now, and he's struggled as well here for the Trailblazers. DeSantolo way in front of that one. And so the count goes to 1-1. Pilots trying to extend their 7-5 lead as they have the bases loaded with two gone here in the top half of the eighth. As mentioned, it'll be the 7, 8, 9 hitters when we go to the bottom half of this inning. DeSantolo ready with the 1-1. That one's low and away, and it's ball 2. Stillwagon trying to get out of the inning here, as here's the 2-1. And we've seen a couple of pitches in that same area as Stillwagon's trying to pick that outside and lower region of the plate, but he hasn't been able to deliver. And so it's a 3-1 count to DeSantolo, and you really want to avoid a walk here if you're Stillwagon, as it would bring a run in. Here's 3-1. DeSantolo chops it to the second baseman, and that'll do it. So Stillwagon gets out of the inning unscathed, and the score remains 7-5. We head to the bottom of the eighth here at Henson Aggregates Field. Trailblazers try to put on the rally as we start the bottom half of the 8th. As they are down to the Pilots in this one, 7-5. Pilots with 11 hits in this one. Trailblazers have been stuck on 7 for a while. As Matt Walczak is in the game, and Polichetti has a leadoff single. So Polichetti is aboard with a leadoff single as Matt Walczak, the left-hander, is on the mound now for the Pilots after a strong outing from Ryan Wynn.
Number 36.
His night is over, and it's the third pitcher of the night for the Pilots after Trent Baker got the start. He gave up 5 earned runs. Ryan Wynn came on and didn't give up any. And now Matt Walczak will try to repeat the effort of Wynn. He tosses in strike 1 there to Caruso, the catcher. Caruso, 0 for 1 on the evening. He's been walked twice. Polichetti, that was his first hit of the evening as he moves to 1-3. Caruso, this one lined down the first baseline, but it's going to fall foul as DeSantolo scoops that one up, and Walczak is ahead in the count, 0-2 now. Mike Caruso from Wallingford, Connecticut, plays at Fairfield, along with the pitcher that we saw start on the mound for the Trailblazers here tonight, Sansone. Big pitcher for Walczak after giving up the leadoff single. And he just misses with that one. And so the count goes to 1-2. Walczak, the first lefty we've seen on the mound tonight for the Pilots. Trailblazers have sent out Sansone and Stillwagon, a pair of left-handers, as Kyle Smith was mixed in there, the righty. Big cut from Caruso as he fouls that one off, and the count will remain at 1-2. Mac Walczak, we've seen him in 2 games as he started both of those games. He's pitched 10 innings, given up 9 hits and 3 earned runs, and he has 5 Ks. Trying to get his 6th of the campaign here. This one misses low when the count goes even 2-2. As Caruso trying to work himself back into this at-bat after getting down on the count 0-2. Caruso fouls another one off and keeps the count square to 2. He's making Matt Walczak work here for the first out of the inning. Pilots up 7-5 in this one. It was a big top of the 7th as they got 4 across home plate, including a 3-run home run from Alan Murphy. It was the first home run of the year for the Newark Pilots, and it couldn't have come at a more opportune time. This one misses high from Walczak, and it's going to allow Polichetti to come around and get into scoring position. So after the leadoff single from Polichetti, he advances on the wild pitch, and the count runs full. There's Matt Walczak not making life easy on himself here in the bottom half of the 8th. And we have seen this countless times from the Pilots so far this year, just the fact that they can't close games out. And you wonder if it's in the head of all of them. Oh, big strikeout there from Walczak, though, as he gets Caruso swinging. And there's one gone. And we saw in that doubleheader, Elmira, they were up 7-1, ended up losing 9-8 in that one, a crushing defeat for them. But the good thing about this game is there's always another day, and we see here tonight the Pilots putting themselves in a great chance to win. As Polichetti is held at second, as there's one gone now here in the bottom of the 8th. Pilots lead 7-5 in this one. Big cut there from McCaffrey as he's in the 9-hole tonight. And 0 for 3 on the evening. Trailblazers will turn over the order here and head to the top after this at-bat from McCaffrey. Another big cut there from McCaffrey, and Walczak is quickly ahead in the count. 0-2. He'd love to get another strikeout here and get 2 retired. Walczak trying to paint the corner inside, but he can't do so. And so it's ball one now to McCaffrey. As we get time here, the center fielder Trip McCaffrey stands at 5'10", 175. Plays at UMass Lowell. Big at-bat for him here. And the 1-2 count. Fouls one off. He's able to fight it off there and stays alive. Get ready with the 1-2 now here as Polichetti is still over there at second with one gone here, bottom of the eighth. Walczak gets it to drop on the bottom of the plate, and there's two gone now. It's back-to-back strikeouts for Matt Walczak. Absolutely huge from him. It's the top of the order for the Trailblazers now, and it's Stallman who has struggled at the plate. 0 for 4 with a pair of strikeouts. Trailblazers would hate to see that leadoff man, Polichetti, go to waste after his single that got us going in the bottom of the eighth, but it's 2 strikeouts for Matt Walczak. As you'd love to see it from him as he was able to pull together after giving up the single there. Big cut from Stallman as he gets all air on that one, and the count goes to 1-1. Walczak ready to go. Another big cut from Stallman as he misses on that one. He's behind 1-2. As he tries to avoid his third strikeout of the evening. Big pitcher from Walczak. It's a 1-2 as Polichetti is on second. Stallman flies one out, but it'll fall foul. And so the count will remain at 1-2. Lucas Stallman from Bedford Hills, New York. Heading to Boston College to play next year. This one chopped over to Cowles. Tough play for him. The play to first, and he gets him. Good inning there from Mac Walczak. And the score remains at 7-5. We head to the top of the ninth. Pilots looking for a couple of insurance runs as they try to close this one out from Hanson Aggregates Field. Ty Babin, the catcher, starts us off here in the top half of the ninth. Pilots up in this one 7-5. Stillwagon still on the mound. No pun intended. As the Pilots have racked up 11 hits in this one. Babin trying to add on to that one. Off speeder misses from Stillwagon. And so the count goes to 3-1 now. Stillwagon into the windup here. Big cut from Babin as he misses on that one. And the count will run full now. Stillwagon trying to have a clean ninth inning here to give the Trailblazers a chance in the bottom half of the ninth. And he gets a strikeout there to start us off as Babin is retired. Alan Murphy, who had the 3-run home run, comes back to the plate now to face Stillwagon for the second time of the game. Alan Murphy, a 5 RBI night for him. And we saw that when we were back in Newark last Friday with Alex Hernandez, the catcher for the Pilots. He had 5 RBIs in the win. We'll see if it's the same result for the Pilots here tonight as they lead 7-5 in this one. It's a 1-1 count to Murphy here. Murphy holds off, but it'll be a strike, and so he's behind in the count 1-2 now. Stillwagon ready to go with the 1-2. Misses outside, and so the count goes even. All is falling quiet here at Hanson Aggregates Field as everyone can hear me up here. As we close things out here in the ninth inning. Stillwagon ready to go with the 2-2. Whoa, that one didn't even get to the plate as it hit the grass. And so the count goes full on Alan Murphy now. And you got to figure Stillwagon being a little careful there, as Alan Murphy was able to get the 3-run shot off of him the last time he was up. That one hits him on the back. And Alan Murphy will get his base. And that might be the evening for Stillwagon. So with one gone here in the top half of the ninth, Trailblazers trying to keep the deficit as 2 as they'll call on a new pitcher here as Alan Murphy is on after the hit by a pitch. We'll be right back here on Newark Pilots TV as Colby McMahon will take over on the mound for the Trailblazers. Well, it wouldn't be a Pilots game without some rain, as some of that has started to fall here in the top of the ninth. As Ben Cowles is back at the plate and he takes a big cut at that one. He struck out 3 times in this one, as he is 0 for 4 in the evening, trying to salvage what he can out of this game, as he's got Alan Murphy over on first with 1 gone. Pilots lead 7-5 in this one, as it'll be the 2-3-4 hitters for the Trailblazers is able to try to rally when we head to the bottom of the ninth. As we mentioned before we cut out there, the right-hander Colby McMahon. Murphy's taken off for second. It's a good throw, but Murphy's in there with a good jump. And it's a stolen base for him. And he's into scoring position. Field, Connecticut plays at Keene State. The right-hander stands at 6'1", 185 on the mound. Cowles has a 1-1 count to him after the stolen base for Alan Murphy. Xavier Warren, who is 2 for 4 in the evening, is due up next for the Pilots. Cowles takes a crack at this one and fouls it off, and so the count goes to 1-2. And you see Warren there getting warmed up. Cowles is hit by that one, and he jogs it down to first. And so there's 2 men on here. If you do want to catch the live stats and the box scores, you can head over to perfectgame.com, and they have the Point Streak app there, and you can get the live stats if you want to follow along with those as well. I see we got a question there in the chat for that. Yeah, I usually follow along with those as well, just in case you were wondering. Ben Cowles is on after getting hit by a pitch, and so there's a man on first and second here. I wish I could get you all the stats that you wanted while you're watching this. I apologize for that. But doing the best we can here at Hanson Aggregates Field as the Pilots are up 7-5 in this one. Trying to get some insurance runs as there's 1 gone. Warren is at the plate. He's batting from the left side now, as there's a righty on the mound for the Trailblazers. Cowles seems to be okay after taking that pitch on the hand region, as he's down at first now. McMahon's able to get that one to fall on the outside part of the plate, and so the count goes to 2-1 now on Warren. As I mentioned, Warren 2 for 4 on the evening. McMahon ready to go. McMahon with that sidearm delivery can ever so often catch hitters off guard, especially when they haven't seen it before. Warren has himself a 3-1 count, however. And this one's in the dirt, and that walk will load the bases here. And so McMahon, after coming on for Stillwagon, having some trouble here as the bases are loaded with 1 gone in the top of the ninth. Pilots up 7-5. They've tallied 11 hits in this one. Trailblazers with 7. And 1 error apiece here from Hanson Aggregates Field. Pilots trying to pick up their 2nd win of the year. Trailblazers trying to put on the rally caps and extend their winning streak to 3. It's Griffin Robinson, the newcomer for the Pilots, who steps in now. He's 1 for 4 on the evening. And here's a wild pitch, and a run will come across to score. And that's what the Pilots needed right there, as Alan Murphy comes across and scores on the wild pitch from McMahon. And the lead is extended now, as it's a 8-5 lead for Newark. Griffin Robinson holds off on that one as McMahon has had some problems with his command since coming into the game. As the runners were able to advance, so they're on second and third after Murphy came across to score. This one in the dirt, and he'll walk Robinson. McMahon seems to really trying to get loose here, but maybe a little too late as the bases are loaded and there's still one gone in the top of the ninth. Pilots have gotten the insurance run that they were looking for, and they lead 8-5 now. All the runs better for Newark, and I'm sure they would agree with that before they head to the bottom of the ninth and try to head home with a win here. As much as I'm sure the Trailblazers don't want to go back to the bullpen, there is some action there. As McMahon gets a strike to fall in there on Zach Priesta, as the Pilots are at the bottom of the order now. McMahon misses with that one low and away, and so the count goes to 1-1. Bases loaded here with one gone. McMahon trying to limit the damage as Priesta looks at strike two, and so the count is 1-2 on him now. Priesta 2 for 3 on the evening. As McMahon fires one in on the hands of Priesta, and so the count runs to 2-2. Temperatures really cooling off here as a slight mist is falling. Priesta looks at ball 3 outside, and McMahon has to be careful as a walk would bring in another run for the Pilots. Ready with the payoff pitch is McMahon, and he misses away, and that'll bring in another run. Ben Cowles will touch home, and the Pilots extend their lead to 9-5. And it's really just been a matter of uncontrolled pitches from McMahon. McMahon seems like he's going to stay in the game here, as I'm sure the Pilots are happy to get another pair of runs here in the top of the ninth. It extends their lead to 9-5. And there's still one gone here as the bases are still loaded as well for Newark. Pilots turn over the order, and it's Parker Tadlock who comes up for his third appearance. He took over for Dawson Bailey as he has been pinch hitting. He's 1 for 2 on the evening. McMahon just having some real issues with finding the strike zone. And the Pilots have had a good eye in holding off on a lot of the pitches that have been wild and in the dirt. McMahon finds the strike zone with this one, and so the count goes to 1-1 on Parker Tadlock from Georgetown, Texas. Plays his college ball at Angelo State, along with the starting pitcher tonight for the Pilots, Trent Baker. Tadlock grounds one of the first basemen, but it's going to miss him. McMahon's over there, cover at first. Is he safe? Yes, he is. And the Pilots score another run. And I'm not sure if maybe the wet conditions had something to do with that, but the first baseman could not handle that one as it slipped under his glove. And it was Julio Murciano who couldn't get his glove on it. McMahon was over there to cover, but it wasn't in time, and so the speedy Tadlock gets on. It's going to be charged as a hit to him for him. McMahon tosses in strike one on Serfolio. Serfolio 3 for 5 as he's had a strong night at the plate for the Pilots in his debut with them. Serfolio hits one into center, and that's going to bring in another run. Prista will come around, holding up, and now going to Serfolio. And here's the slide in. Oh, he's going to be out. But it's Serfolio who brings in another couple of runs, and the Pilots have opened this one up in the top of the ninth as they lead 12-5 now. It was smart base running there from Matt Serfolio as he waited for the throw to go down to third on Parker Tadlock, and then he took off for second, but it just seemed like he slid in there just a bit too early, and he gets thrown out. But all the less, he brings in a pair of runs, and the Pilots go up 12-5 now. Trailblazers bullpen not able to keep this one in reach here, as it's DeSantolo at the plate now. As DeSantolo 2 for 4 on the evening. He was hit by a pitch his last time up. As the Pilots have racked up 13 hits in this one now, and they lead 12-5. McMahon misses with that one, and so the count goes to 2-1 on DeSantolo as Tadlock is down on third with 2 gone here in the top of the ninth. DeSantolo fouls this one off into the backstop, and so the count will go to 2-2 on him now. McMahon with the delivery. It's inside, but he'll get the strikeout on DeSantolo. But the Pilots do their damage in the top of the ninth. They get 5 more and take a 12-5 lead as they try to close this one out when we head to the bottom of the ninth here from Hanson Aggregates Field. Dan Cougars, we welcome you back in for what the Pilots hope is the last inning of this ball game as we head to the bottom of the ninth. Pilots in control of this one as they lead 12-5 as they look to pick up their second win of the year. It was a one-run game against Geneva last Friday. Pilots their first win. Let's see if runs the magic number once again. Here in New York. Bats came alive later half game, and they got four top of the seven, and five more just now and top of the nine. They lead 12-5 now. Roberto is back at the plate after a hot start. He has failed to reach his last two times, and so he's 2-4 in the evening. And it's Jonathan Tyler, the right-hander, on the mound. He keeps up with the team of newcomers for Newark here as he gets his first action on the mound of the year. As he joins the Pilots from Santa Clarita, California. Roberto holds off on one that's high in the strike zone, and so he has a hitter's count, and it's 3-1. Last thing Tyler would want to do is walk the leadoff man to start the bottom of the ninth. He gets one to paint the outside corner, and so Tyler pushes the count full as he looks to retire the leadoff man, Roberto, here. Pitch swung at by Roberto, but chopped foul, and so the count will remain full. As mentioned, Newark will head home to Colburn Park to take on the Glens Falls Dragons tomorrow, after they look to close a win out here tonight. That one misses high, and it's going to be a leadoff walk for Jonathan Tyler as Roberto gets his base. And now Julio Mercano comes back to the plate. He's 1 for 3 on the evening. He was walked his last time up. Ronald Loomis is your projected starter tomorrow for the Pilots when the Dragons come to town. We saw the right-hander in a game at Geneva in which the Pilots could not come up with the win, but Loomis was strong in that one. The freshman from Oswego State. He will get the start on the mound tomorrow for the Pilots. Tyler, he tosses in ball one, and so it's a 1-0 count to Mercano with Roberto down on first. Big cut there from Julio Mercano as Tyler gets him to go around on that one, and so the count goes to 1-1. Tyler ready to go as this one just misses from Tyler, and so the count goes to 2-1. As the rain falling down a little bit hard now, as you can see it under the lights. Somewhat of a light mist. As that one misses high, Roberto is going to be able to get down to second, and so he moves into scoring position. As there is action, it's Alec Teska in the bullpen for the Pilots in case this one gets away from Jonathan Tyler. And you have to wonder about what the ball grip is. As it is a miss, but it's coming down quite heavy now. And my equipment is getting really wet. And that's not cool. So it's a 3-1 count to Julio Mercano. Tyler misses high, and he walks his second straight batter. And it's a quick mound visit here from Matt Colbert.
Now batting for the Blazers is number 39, the right fielder, Vinny Martin, number 39.
Colbert finishes his mound visit with Jonathan Tyler, and Ty Babin will make his way back behind home plate as Tyler will try to regain his thoughts as Vinnie Martin comes back to the plate. Martin has an RBI in this game as he is 1 for 2. He's been walked as well. And he's ready to go again. Tyler, ground out down the third baseline. Serfolio is able to get it, but it's going to fall foul. Saw Serfolio over there earlier in the game make an excellent play. I consider it a web gem as he got his glove over the wall, or the fence, you could say, and was able to make a great catch and foul play. As Tyler misses high with that one, and we've seen that a couple times from him, as that ball has just escaped his hand a tad early. And the count goes to 1-1 on Vinnie Martin now. Martin sends this one into left, and that one's going to fall, and they're going to hold Roberto. I thought Roberto would come home for sure on that one. But a touchy time now, as we saw Alan Murphy hit a home run earlier in this game. And it's David Mercano who comes to the plate now. And with the bases loaded, the 12-5 Pilots lead. David Mercano, no home runs on the year for him. Would love to get his first right now with the bases loaded. Tyler fires one in, and it misses low, and so the count goes to 1-0. There's Tyler into the windup now. This one catches the lower half of the play for a strike. So it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Trailblazers, that's their first hit from all the way back in the bottom of the 5th. And it's going to be a hit by Vinnie Martin. Tyler gets another one to fall in there. And so it's 1 ball and 2 strikes now to Mercano, as Jonathan Tyler is looking for his first out here of the inning. In the bottom of the 9th, Pilots lead this one 12-5. Swing and a miss from Mercano, and he's going to go down on strikes. And so a big strikeout for Tyler, as there's 1 gone now. Tim Carroll comes to the plate now. Carroll batting .333 on the year. Looks at one low, and so it's ball 1 to him. Bases are still loaded here in the bottom of the 9th. Trailblazers needed to add 7 runs to tie this one up. Carroll goes around on that one, and so the count goes to 1-1 on him now. Tyler ready to go, and he gets that one to fall, and so he's ahead of the count 1-2. As Carroll will have to get aggressive at the plate here now. Big swing and a miss from Carroll, and there's 2 gone now here in the bottom of the 9th, as the bases are still loaded for the Trailblazers. Adirondack down to their final out of the game. They trail in this one 12-5. It's Paulicetti, 1 for 3 on the evening, as he had his only hit of the ball game in his last at bat. This one misses away from Tyler, and good to see Tyler get a pair of strikeouts there after the shaky start after coming in for Matt Walczak. This one misses high for ball 2. as Tyler is ready to go with the 2-0. Polichetti lays off. It gets away from Babbitt, and the count goes to 3-0. And a walk would bring in a run for the Trailblazers. Something I'm sure Jonathan Tyler would love to avoid. That miss that was here when Tyler came to the mound has ceased, as he gets that one to fall in. And so the count goes to 3-1 on Polichetti now. The catcher Caruso is due up if Polichetti can get on here. And he will be walked, and so Roberto will come home to score. And the Pilots' lead is now 12-6.
Now batting, number 36, the catcher, Mike Caruso, number 36.
It's the catcher Caruso back at the plate. He's reached twice on balls. As Tyler fires in strike one, as there's 2 gone still here in the bottom of the 9th. The Pilots lead 12-6. Tyler trying to close this one out in a non-save situation. That one is right at the head of Caruso as he ducked out of the way of that one, and the count goes to 1-1. Tyler trying to leave the bases loaded here in the bottom of the 9th. That one catches the inside part of the plate, and Caruso is down to his final strike in this game. It's a 1-2 count to him with 2 gone. Tyler into the windup. Swing and a miss, and that'll do it. Pilots get their second win of the year as they take this one 12-6. Hugs around for the Newark squad as they move to 2-7 on the year. Adirondack falls to 2-9. And the Pilots return home tomorrow at Colburn Park to take on the Glens Falls Dragons. If you can't make it out to the ballpark, we'll see you right here on NewarkPilots.tv. From Hanson Aggregates Field, I'm Dan Cooter saying so long.